They all are adherents to a particular organization's direction called GLSEN. GLSEN.
Yeah, Jacob is Jacob's very familiar with them.
Yeah,
he's covered them a couple of times. These people before. I mean, these were the people that were pushing this. Disney was donating to this organization, and this, for those who don't know, this I might be stealing your thunder here, culture, but this organization literally creates curriculums for schools to push this stuff onto children.
Yeah, from K to 12. Teachers. From kindergarten to 12. When you enter this website, and I said this specifically in my video, you get a pop-up. You get a pop-up that specifically warns you to back away. This is dangerous, and if you're going to visit this site, you have to clear your browser history regularly. If you need to escape, if you need to bail out of here, hit the escape key on your keyboard 3 times, or tap your phone, your mobile 3 times to escape the website without it, basically saying that you were there. That's the pop-up you receive on the way in. Once you get inside here, you get lesson plans that you can actually download in PDF format. If you scroll down to
our work.
Scroll down to that area. Yeah.
I know Jacob's covered it before, and we've linked to some of their
it is before. Terribly insidious. And I'm glad you guys are on top of this, because I haven't found anybody else talking about this group, to be fair.
Yeah, I think Jacob did it back in February.
Yeah, I have to find the article. We covered them a year ago. I have to find the exact article that I mentioned them in. But yeah, I'm covering this.
Yeah, and look, this is how they're dealing with the fact that they've now been discovered, facing an onslaught of attacks and lies from right-wing extremists. Well, if you scroll to what they're actually giving teachers, the resources, because you can get to them, they actually provide lesson plans and things like that. In fact, Jacob's right on top of it in the private chat. There's the article. But yeah, it's insidious. And one of the curriculum is written by Lego. And Lego has a program called the 6 Bricks, and it comes along with a lesson plan on how to introduce all these ideas into kids' heads, because they want you to put this gender ideology front and center.
And then the next thing you know, as a parent, you're sitting there at a town hall trying to explain to the people there like how they've been sneaking pornography into your kids' school books for years under your nose. It's like, well, like I said, follow the money and you'll find out the answer.
Yeah. And again, every single one of these things is linked to organizations like this. They are very, very shadowy. They are not at all subtle in what they do. They're not subtle about their goals. They aren't subtle about the resources that they provide to teachers. They teach the teachers how to avoid having conflicts with parents, how to
lie to them.
Yeah, but it's all of these, all of these things. This organization is dirty.
The stuff with Lego is extremely concerning, because they've actually done extensive research on children to figure out how they play differently. They know that boys and girls play differently. They're the ones who have done that research that shows that boys like to aspire to be the characters that they play with, whether that's like Batman or Superman, whereas girls kind of project themselves onto the characters that they play with. And the fact that they're using this research, this information, this way that boys and girls are different to basically mind warp small children is just it's sick. It's so sick.
But you show this to any parent, they're likely to come unhinged. It doesn't matter what their political leanings are, unless they're completely indoctrinated into it. But this is the Building Inclusive Classrooms initiative from Lego.
Yep.
And it's, again, they tell you right here, you can download the resource guide. You could actually sign up to receive the Lego 6 Bricks kits, which I would guess are probably free, because they're trying to indoctrinate as many people as possible.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
they just handed them out.
And this is just one of the programs. This is just the one that caught my eye because I'm like, so Lego's corrupt piece of shit now. And I'm sorry I cursed on your channel, but I'm frustrated. This stuff makes me crazy. And
I mean, the
It
reality
should.
is we've gotten to a point where if you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation in the United States of America, you're probably corrupted in some way, shape, or form at this point. I don't think there's any that are pure at where we're at right now.
I think what's even more crazy is we don't have more people that are upset, that are angry about this. We don't have more righteous anger. That's how we kind of talked about this, that they have like manipulated so many people into buying into this kind of just kind of turn their brains into mush, that they've lost their like well-formed conscience. They can't recognize good from right from wrong anymore, good from evil. And I think that's like deeply concerning, and they just want to crush us even more with this stuff. And that's
these
what this is
people
intended to do.
have been actively pushing agendas behind the scenes to make it so that we can't tell the difference between good or evil anymore, or evil from good, or trying to make it seem like that evil doesn't really exist, that it's all just, you know, made up gobbledygook. Like, this is what we're at now. You wonder why so many people have bought into it, because like I said, unfortunately people are starting to see it more now over the last 5 or 10 years, but this has been going on for decades and people have just been completely asleep to it until it's gotten to the point where it's kind of like spewed out of the cup here to
you in the face.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's so in your face now, you can't help but to see it. But even with it being so in your face, people are still denying what's happening right now, which to me is the most infuriating part, because it's like, yeah, look, before we were all wise to what was going on here. You can say back in like the 80s and the 90s, maybe some people were asleep to this, but you can't sit here and pretend like you don't see what's going on anymore without actively being in denial of what's right in your face.
Yeah, and again, people are literally taking their children to some of these shows and stuff.
Yeah,
like it's just
because they think that makes them a good person now, because they have to show their allyship.
Well, and again, I mean, the fact that they are going to be the fact that they're going to be questioning whether or not they can conduct some of their activities in Disney World is kind of a good thing, finally, because, you know, putting drag in front of kids is now illegal in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have, you know, you may not be able to have your.
It's funny because a lot of the left-wing progressive outlets, this is maybe like a couple years ago, I remember running across this on the story that I was doing like years ago, even before all this drag queen stuff really started to get shoved down our throats. And one of what the left-wing circles love to bring up is just the fact that up until like that 60s or 70s, somewhere within that time frame, that I believe that a lot of drag shows across the country were illegal, or that they didn't allow any of them at all. Then, of course, you know, during that time period, they kind of allowed them again for adults, you know, at the time. And now we're seeing that, you know, everything's being aimed directly at kids. Like, it's not even for the adults anymore. It's like they want the kids. And now it's like, okay, so now we're starting to understand why these things were banned in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you know, the question, the polls in the field, everybody, that question that's up there, have at it, because I think the answer is pretty self-evident. Mm-hmm. But anyway, for fun, if you, or not for fun, but if you want to be well disturbed and you want to preserve history, download this resource guide just on Lego alone, or go exploring and spelunk into hell, because let me tell you, I've been there.
And I think the scariest part is that, like I said, with quote unquote Pride Month being tomorrow, all the corporations are going to start lighting up the rainbow color sometime tonight or early in the morning.
They're already doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insufferable. And then the things that you're seeing now out of like Disneyland and Bud Light, it's like they're going to ramp it up to about 100 here in the next couple of weeks. So if you think that it's bad now, just wait until the atrocities we're going to see in the next couple of weeks.
And I feel really bad because, you know, Kate J's in the chat, and I mean, a lot of people are going to be upset by this because they're caught off guard because they didn't know that something that they, you know, have used or enjoyed or whatever. Because I like Legos. I've got multiple sets up there. And, you know, it's like.
That's what I played with as a kid. Played so much with my Legos.
It's the same thing as Disney. They've basically been coasting on their past name, their past glory. So parents just assume, oh, well, it's Disney. So, I mean, they're known for kid-friendly stuff. So I'll just trust my kids to watch any of this stuff now. And now you're starting to figure out, now I'm like, can't do that anymore.
No, they and here's the thing. Even if there were things to be corrected, let's say, in underrepresenting certain groups or whatever, Okay, you can make an argument for that. But at this point, that's so far behind us. It's that line in the sand that's 6 miles behind us at this point, because it's like, okay, we needed to make progress. Well, that was done a long time ago in my lifetime while I was graduating high school, right? We were already, we didn't have these issues with race that we all of a sudden have now reinvented. We didn't have these issues with accepting gay people. And I mean, even way back then. Right. This is a different world, and this is being done for a reason. I mean, it's pure.
And they've also like I was reading something about this earlier this week. They like the whole LGBTQ movement has basically glommed on to the civil rights movement to try and
that
claim the moral high ground, which is just bizarre.
We were just talking about Disney, John, and he actually glommed onto that. Remember that in that speech he was making, and that talked about we can't lose the inclusivity garbage.
Iger, yeah.
In that very same speech, Iger said, those exact words. I mean, he is not a good person. The weatherman, Uncle Bob, is a bad guy. That's an uncle you don't want to, go to his house and hang out with him. That is not a good man.
Yeah, I mean, he made it clear in that interview too. Not only did he say that it wasn't going away, but he said he was the arbiter of what is right and wrong, and he gets paid a lot of money to figure that out. And it's like, you don't know what's right and wrong, and if you're getting paid to do it, you're literally doing it the wrong way, because you clearly don't know what is right and wrong. You need to go get yourself right with God first, and then you can come back and tell us what's right and wrong, but you clearly don't know what it is. And he said that in that interview. I found that the most appalling. I found that more appalling than him saying that he was going to like double down on the inclusivity. It was like, of course he's going to say that, but him saying that I'm the arbiter of what's right and wrong, like, are you kidding me? No.